The car. God, the car. A cherry red Alfa Romeo Giulia. Not practical, not sensible, but beautiful. A goddamn siren on wheels. It was impulsive, reckless even, buying it. I'd justified it to myself as a joint gift, something we could both enjoy. The truth? It was for her. For Sarah. I'd been saving for a down payment on a condo, pinching pennies. Eating ramen more nights than I care to admit. That condo was supposed to be our future, a symbol of our commitment. But then she'd started dropping hints, subtle at first, admiring other cars. Flipping through luxury magazines, complaining about the reliability of her old Civic. Then the hints became less subtle, more direct. The Alpha was a ridiculous indulgence. A slap in the face to my carefully constructed budget. I'd raided my savings, swallowed the lump in my throat as I signed the loan agreement, and told myself it was worth it. Worth it to see her face light up. Worth it to silence the nagging feeling that I wasn't enough, that our relationship was stagnating. I pictured us cruising down the coast, windows down. Sun on our faces, the throaty roar of the engine a soundtrack to our happiness. I envisioned weekend getaways, spontaneous road trips, a renewed sense of adventure in our lives. The car wasn't just a car, it was a symbol of my love, my commitment, my willingness to go the extra mile to make her happy. A promise of excitement, ironically enough. The Alpha sat gleaming in the driveway, a testament to my misplaced optimism. I thought the car would fix things, be the antidote to whatever was ailing us. Then came the speech. It was a Tuesday night. We'd just finished a silent dinner, another sign I'd failed to notice. She pushed her plate away, the clatter echoing in the suddenly cavernous space between us. I deserve excitement, she said, her voice flat, devoid of emotion. I remember staring at her, trying to decipher the meaning behind those words. Excitement? What did that even mean? Was I not exciting enough? Was our life together too predictable, too safe? What do you mean? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. She shrugged, avoiding my gaze. I don't know. Something more. Something different. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. Different? Hadn't I just bought her a goddamn sports car? Wasn't that different? We can be different, I pleaded, my voice rising slightly. We can go on adventures, try new things. She cut me off with a wave of her hand. It's not about things, Mark. It's about feeling alive. I feel like I'm just going through the motions. Her words hung in the air, heavy and accusatory. I felt a wave of confusion wash over me, followed by a sharp sting of hurt. I had poured my heart and soul into this relationship, sacrificed my own dreams for her happiness, and now she was telling me it wasn't enough? I wasn't enough? That excitement arrived Friday. I came home early, hoping to salvage the weekend. Flowers in hand, a pathetic attempt at a grand gesture after the disaster of Tuesday night. I unlocked the door. The scent of her perfume, usually a comforting welcome, now felt like a mocking reminder of happier times. The house was silent. I found her in the driveway. Or rather, I found her leaving the driveway. In her car. The car I had bought. And she wasn't alone. A black BMW idled at the curb. A man leaned against it, arms crossed, a smug look plastered on his face. Sarah emerged from our house, a small suitcase in tow. She didn't see me at first. I was frozen, a statue of disbelief and impending doom. Then she turned. Her eyes widening in a mix of surprise and, was that guilt? She didn't say anything. Didn't offer an explanation, an apology, nothing. She simply walked to the BMW. The man opened the door for her. And she got in, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. The red taillights of the Alpha faded into the distance, a bloody wound against the darkening sky. The flower slipped from my grasp, scattering petals across the concrete like fallen tears. A wave of nausea washed over me, followed by a crushing weight in my chest. Anger, raw and primal, surged through my veins. Heartbreak, sharp and unforgiving, pierced my soul. Betrayal, cold and calculated, settled in my bones. She left, just like that, with him, in my car. The fading taillights triggered a memory, a stark contrast to the present desolation. I was transported back to the beginning, the honeymoon phase, as they call it. God, it felt like a lifetime ago. We met at a coffee shop. A cliché I used to mock relentlessly. She spilled her latte all over me. I should have been annoyed, but her infectious laughter and genuine apology disarmed me instantly. There was an undeniable spark, an instant connection. We spent hours talking that first day, discovering shared passions, finishing each other's sentences. She was vibrant, intelligent, and fiercely independent, everything I thought I wanted. We stayed up all night, watching the sunrise, making plans for a future we both believed in. Those early months were a whirlwind of romance. Spontaneous adventures, stolen kisses, whispered promises. We explored the city together, hand in hand, discovering hidden gems and creating memories that I swore would last forever. We talked about our dreams, traveling the world, starting a family, building a life together. We were invincible, unstoppable. She made me feel alive, truly alive, in a way I never thought possible. It felt like fate, like we were destined to be together. The future stretched out before us, bright and promising. How could something so beautiful turn so ugly? What had changed? Where did we go wrong? The memory of her laughter now echoed in my mind, a cruel reminder of what I had lost. Now, replaying everything in my head, I see the cracks, the subtle shifts that I chose to ignore, the seeds of doubt planted long ago that I allowed to fester. Her increasing distance, for one. The way she'd pull away during a hug, her eyes unfocused, as if she were already somewhere else. The secretive phone calls, whispered conversations in the hallway, her voice dropping to a near inaudible level whenever I entered the room. When I asked who she was talking to, she'd brush it off, a casual, just a friend. That didn't quite ring true. I wanted to believe her, so I did. Foolishly. Her changes in behavior. She started going out more, claiming she needed girl time, but returning later than she promised, her eyes bright, her cheeks flushed, with excuses that felt rehearsed. She lost interest in our shared activities, the things we used to enjoy together. Movie nights became solitary affairs. Weekend hikes were replaced with vague errands. She started criticizing me more, nitpicking at my flaws, pointing out my shortcomings. I was too predictable, too boring, too safe. The very qualities she once admired now seemed to be her biggest complaints. I saw the warning signs, of course I did. But I dismissed them, rationalized them, convinced myself it was just a phase. I was afraid to confront her, afraid of what I might find. So, I buried my head in the sand, hoping the problems would magically disappear. I prioritized my own comfort over the health of our relationship. A fatal mistake. Amidst the wreckage of my emotions, the anger, the hurt, the bewilderment, a thought sparked. A dark, tempting thought. The spare key. When I bought the Alpha, the dealership gave me 2 sets of keys. Sarah took one, of course, her excitement palpable as she jingled them in her hand. But I kept the other, tucked away in a drawer in my desk, a small, insignificant piece of metal that suddenly held immense power. The temptation was overwhelming. I could track her, follow her, see where she was going, who she was with. I could confront her, demand an explanation, force her to face the consequences of her actions. Or, a darker voice whispered, I could simply take the car back, drive it away, leaving her stranded, a taste of her own medicine. But I knew, deep down, that using the key would be wrong. It would be a violation of her privacy, a betrayal of the trust, however fractured, that still remained between us. It would make me no better than her. The internal conflict raged. Part of me yearned for revenge, for retribution, for some way to reclaim my dignity. But another part of me, a sliver of my former self, still clung to the values I held dear. I wrestled with the decision, the weight of the key heavy in my hand. It was a symbol of control, of power, but also of the potential for further damage. Was I willing to cross that line? Sleep became a luxury I could no longer afford. The spare key burned a hole in my pocket, a constant reminder of my powerlessness and her betrayal. My mind became a battlefield, consumed by obsessive thoughts, dark fantasies fueled by anger and hurt. I imagined myself installing a GPS tracker on the car, following her every move, uncovering the details of her new life. I pictured myself confronting her and the other man, unleashing a torrent of rage, demanding answers, forcing them to acknowledge the pain they had caused. I even fantasized about damaging the car, slashing the tires, keying the paint, turning her symbol of excitement into a mangled wreck. A childish, spiteful act, I knew. But the thought brought a fleeting sense of satisfaction. But then, rationality would kick in, reminding me of the consequences. Jail time, legal battles, the further erosion of my own self-respect. I'd pull myself back from the brink, disgusted by my own thoughts, ashamed of the person I was becoming. The cycle repeated itself, day after day, night after night. Obsessive thoughts, fleeting fantasies, a desperate attempt to regain control in a situation where I felt utterly helpless. I spent hours staring at the spare key, weighing my options, teetering on the edge of a moral abyss. Each time, I managed to pull back, clinging to the last vestiges of my integrity. But the temptation remained, a constant, nagging presence in the back of my mind. How long could I resist? Driven by a morbid curiosity, a need to understand, I found him. Not through the spare key. I wasn't ready to cross that line. Not yet. But through social media, a mutual friend's tagged photo. There he was. His name was Alex. He was a photographer, apparently. The pictures showed him scaling mountains, surfing waves, exploring exotic locales. He was everything I wasn't, adventurous, spontaneous, seemingly carefree. I saw them together, laughing, holding hands, the very picture of happiness. The Alfa Romeo was parked nearby, gleaming under the sun. It felt like a punch to the gut. One evening, I accidentally bumped into him at a bar Sarah used to frequent. He was alone, nursing a beer, sketching in a notebook. I hesitated, then approached him. "Alex," I asked, my voice strained. He looked up, his eyes meeting mine. He was taller than I expected, with a rugged, almost arrogant charm. "Yeah." I extended my hand. "Mark. I'm an acquaintance of Sarah's." He shook my hand, his grip firm. "Nice to meet you, Mark." There was a flicker of recognition in his eyes, a hint of awkwardness. He knew. We made small talk, superficial pleasantries. I tried to gauge his personality, to understand what Sarah saw in him. He was confident, charismatic, with an easy smile that seemed genuine. But beneath the surface, I sensed a certain restlessness, a hunger for something more. Was that what she craved? Was that the excitement she was missing? I couldn't help but feel a pang of envy and a profound sense of inadequacy. We never spoke. Not really. Not after she left. She sent a few terse texts. Logistical details about splitting our belongings. Nothing personal. Nothing remotely resembling an apology. The conversation I craved, the explanation I deserved, never materialized. So, I constructed it myself. A phantom dialogue, replayed endlessly in my mind. A twisted theater of imagined justifications and bitter recriminations. In my mind, she'd say things like, "You were suffocating me, Mark. You were so predictable." I felt like I was trapped in a cage, a gilded cage, maybe, but a cage nonetheless. You wanted to build a life. I wanted to live a life. There's a difference. The car, it was a nice gesture, I guess. But it wasn't enough. It was a band-aid on a gaping wound. You were so focused on the future. You forgot to enjoy the present. You were always planning, always saving, always waiting. Alex, he just gets me. He understands my need for adventure, my craving for the unknown. He doesn't try to hold me back. Don't blame me, Mark. Blame yourself. You were boring, complacent, content to settle for mediocrity. I deserve better. These imagined words, whether true or not, cut me deeper than any actual conversation could have. They reinforced my insecurities, validated my fears, and confirmed my worst suspicions. I became convinced that I was everything she accused me of being. Boring, predictable, inadequate. And the worst part? A small part of me believed she was right. Weeks turned into months. The raw edges of the pain began to soften, replaced by a dull ache, a lingering sadness. I still thought about her, about them, about the car. The spare key remained in my desk drawer. A silent sentinel, a constant reminder of my options. I considered selling the car. It would be the practical thing to do, the sensible thing to do. It would free me from the financial burden. Allow me to finally put a down payment on that condo. But the thought of someone else driving her car, the car I had bought for us, was unbearable. I also considered using the spare key. Just once. To see her, to confront her, to finally get the answers I craved. But I knew that wouldn't bring me closure. It would only prolong the pain, drag me deeper into the darkness. In the end, I did neither. I kept the car. I know, it doesn't make sense. It was an irrational decision, fueled by a stubborn refusal to let go completely. It was a reminder of what I had lost, but also a symbol of what I had survived. And the spare key? I finally threw it away. Not dramatically, not with a flourish, but quietly, almost reluctantly. I tossed it into a recycling bin. A small act of defiance, a symbolic severing of ties. It was a small step towards healing, a tentative step towards moving on. It meant I was choosing to trust that I could be happy again. Without her, without the car, without the need for control. It was a hard-won victory. I still see the Alfa Romeo sometimes. Not hers, but others. A flash of red on the highway. A glimpse of its sleek lines in a parking lot. And each time, the question resurfaces, what is excitement, really? Is it scaling mountains and surfing waves, as Alex seems to believe? Is it a constant pursuit of novelty, a relentless search for the next thrill? Or is it something deeper, something more sustainable? I used to think excitement was about grand gestures, about spontaneous adventures, about chasing after the extraordinary. But now, I'm not so sure. Maybe true excitement lies in the quiet moments, in the shared laughter, in the unwavering support. in the comfortable familiarity of a love that grows stronger with time. Maybe excitement is just a euphemism for something else entirely, a fear of commitment, a dissatisfaction with oneself, an inability to appreciate the present moment. I don't know if Sarah found her excitement with Alex. I don't know if their relationship will last. And frankly, I don't care. My focus now is on finding my own definition of happiness, on building a life that is fulfilling and meaningful, with or without someone else. The Alfa Romeo sits in my garage, a reminder of a painful chapter in my life. But it's also a reminder of my resilience, my ability to overcome adversity, my capacity for growth. And maybe, just maybe, one day I'll even learn to enjoy driving it again. The question of what Sarah was really looking for, however, may never be answered.